All right, students of magic and medicine, welcome. Today, we're ditching the lab coats for wizarding robes because we're diving into a very special explainer. We are about to pull back the curtain on the body's secret communication system, a truly magical network of potions and spells that, believe it or not, runs your entire life.
Oh yeah, your body has its very own messenger service, and it's all powered by these little chemical potions we call hormones. They get sent out through a system that works, honestly, a lot like the magic in the wizarding world. So grab your wands and let's get started. Okay, so first things first, we need to understand how these messages, these spells, actually get sent. It all comes down to the glands. They're basically the magical post offices of the body. But, and this is key, there are two very different delivery systems at play here. So on one hand, you've got the exocrine glands. Let's call them the owl post. They have these little tubes or ducts that deliver their potions, think sweat or saliva, to one very specific address. But on the other hand, we have the star of our show today, the endocrine glands. These are like the flu network. Why? Because they're ductless. They just pour their hormones directly into the bloodstream, sending messages everywhere all at once. And just like Hogwarts has its 4 legendary houses, the endocrine system has 4 major glands that you absolutely need to know. Each one has its own unique personality, its own role to play in keeping your body in perfect magical balance. So let's meet them, the 4 great houses of the endocrine system. We're going to break down exactly what each of these powerhouse glands actually does. First up, let's call it Hufflepuff, the pituitary gland, our headmaster. It's this tiny little gland at the base of your brain, but don't let its size fool you. It's incredibly powerful, overseeing tons of other glands. Its key spells? Well, there's growth hormone, which is pretty self-explanatory. It decides how tall you get. And then there's ADH, which magically manages all the water levels in your body, making sure you stay perfectly hydrated. Next, we've got our Ravenclaw, the thyroid gland, the body's energy core. This one's found in the front of your neck, and it casts the spell thyroxin. This spell controls your metabolism, which is basically the speed at which your body turns food into fuel. It affects everything from your heart rate to your body temperature. But here's the catch, and this is super important. To brew this potion, it absolutely must have one key ingredient, iodine.
Now for the pancreas. We're calling this one Slytherin because of its cunning, dual nature. It's hidden away behind the stomach, and it's constantly casting 2 opposing spells to keep things in a delicate balance. It casts insulin to lower your blood sugar, and it casts glucagon to raise it. It's like this constant magical duel happening inside you, 24/7.
And finally, our Gryffindor, the brave adrenal gland. These sit right on top of your kidneys, and they are the body's emergency hub. When danger strikes, bam, they unleash the famous spell, adrenaline. This is what triggers that fight or flight response. Your heart pounds, your senses sharpen, you are ready for immediate, courageous action. But that's not its only trick. It's got a whole other side we'll get to in a bit. But what happens when these magical potions aren't brewed quite right? What if there's too much or too little of a hormone? Well, that can lead to what we might as well call curses. Let's take a look at some of the most common magical maladies. So let me ask you this. Think back to our headmaster, the pituitary gland, the one that controls growth. What do you think happens if its growth hormone spell becomes way too powerful when someone is a kid? Well, the result is a condition called gigantism. The body's growth charts just go into complete overdrive, leading to really extraordinary height. It's a very direct and very powerful consequence of just this one single hormone getting out of balance. Now remember the thyroid and its critical need for iodine? Well, without it, the gland just can't make its thyroxin potion. So, in a desperate attempt to work harder and catch up, it actually swells up, and that causes a simple goiter. It's a perfect example of why a balanced diet is so important. And the crazy part? The cure is often as simple as just using iodized salt. And the pancreas. What happens if it can't brew enough of its insulin spell? Well, sugar just starts to build up in the blood to really dangerous levels. This curse is known as diabetes mellitus. It's where the body pretty much loses its ability to manage its own sweetness. Okay, so not all of this is about curses and cures. A lot of it is just about constant, really complex management. For that, let's circle back to our Gryffindor, the adrenal gland. It's more than just emergencies. Its outer layer, the cortex, is a master of many spells. To make it super easy to remember its functions, just use this simple charm, the 3S rule. Salt for regulating minerals, sugar for managing glucose, and sex for influencing sexual characteristics. See? Simple.
So with all this powerful magic flying around, how does the body keep itself from, just going haywire? How does it know when to stop brewing a potion? Well, it has this brilliant built-in messaging system that works a lot like a howler from the wizarding world. Let's see this in action with the thyroid. When your thyroid levels get low, the hypothalamus sends a message to the pituitary. The pituitary then tells the thyroid, hey, get to work. But, and here's the cool part, once the levels are high enough, the thyroxine itself sends a howler right back to the top, basically screaming, stop, we're good, and that shuts the whole production line down, keeping everything in perfect balance. This entire process, this loop, is called a negative feedback loop. The final product literally negates or stops its own creation. It's the body's most elegant spell for achieving what's called homeostasis, which is just a fancy word for that perfect, stable internal state. And this is happening all the time for countless hormones, keeping your magical world in balance without you ever having to think about it. All right, you ready for some advanced potion making? We're going to tackle a couple of tricky concepts that always seem to pop up on the exams. Think of this as your OWL preparation. Okay, this is a big one. It's so easy to get these two confused. Diabetes mellitus is a pancreas problem. It's about low insulin, which leads to high blood sugar and sugar in the urine. Diabetes insipidus, on the other hand, is a pituitary problem. It's about low ADH, so your blood sugar is totally normal, and there is no sugar in the urine. The symptoms might seem a little similar, but the magical causes are worlds apart. And hey, remember our Slytherin pancreas and its dual nature? Well, there's actually a scientific name for that. It's called a heterocrine gland. It means it does two totally different jobs. It uses the owl-post system to send digestive juices through a duct, and it uses the flu network to send insulin straight into the blood. It's a truly multi-talented bit of magic. And we'll leave you with one final piece of wisdom, a little tip right from Professor Dumbledore's study guide. To pass your exams, always remember, mellitus means sweet, like sugar in the urine, and insipidus means tasteless, because it's just water, no sugar. It's a simple little mnemonic, but it's what separates the masters from the muggles. Now, what other secret languages do you think your body is speaking?